everyone. A few months ago, a PM at a top AI company told me they finally shipped their agent. It took 3 months to build. It worked great in staging, and then the first week in production, it started pulling data from the wrong customer's account. Nobody noticed for 4 days. Building agents is no different from building software. It requires much of the same attention to detail that you'd put in a product you ship to your customers. But given how easy it is to vibe code a demo, most teams find that out the hard way. My name is Anuj, Director of Products at Merge, and today I wanted to share 4 things that we've learned the hard way from helping our customers ship agents in production and seeing that scenario play out over and over again. We're all vibe coding things. And here's the thing, it works. That's the trap. You have a demo in 2 hours that would have taken a month to build a year ago. And that prototype feels very much like a product. But the moment real users touch it with real data, real permissions, and real edge cases, the gaps start to show and the complexity compounds fast. And that gap between demo and production is where the real work starts on your end. Quick context on Merge before we dive in. We have 2 products, 1 platform. Merge Unified handles synced, normalized data for your product's customer-facing integrations. Merge Agent Handler gives your agents access to tools and systems your teams and customers actually use. Both sit on the same enterprise-grade foundation. You'll learn why both exist by the end of this talk. So without further ado, here are the top lessons, all from watching smart teams hit the same walls over and over again. Lesson number 1, to build production-grade agents requires 3 different layers. Let's start with the model layer. That's the easy one that everyone gets right. This is where your LLM is running the core logic that powers your agent. Next up is the integrations layer, where your data can actually access all the systems that your customers live in. Data access, tool access become absolutely critical here. And lastly is the control layer, where you can configure permissions, governance, and see what your model is actually doing. This is the one that gets built last and breaks first. Here's what we see constantly. Teams invest months in the model layer, wire in some integrations, and deploy with basically no control layer at all. In a demo, that's fine. In enterprise, that's a deal breaker. Security reviews, compliance questions, audit requirements, the control layer is not optional. And before you even get to the control layer, there's a more fundamental question. What is your agent actually working with? Which leads to lesson number 2. Your agent is only as good as the data it has access to. An agent without data access is basically just expensive autocomplete. Ultimately, you built an agent to do something. Maybe it's pulling tickets, analyzing gong calls, creating Salesforce opportunities. Without access to these various tools, your agent is inherently limited in what it can do. This is a sandbox. It's cute. It's completely alone. The first question you should ask about any agent isn't, what model are you using? It's, what can it actually touch? Having this data is also the only way to differentiate your product. There are 3 sources of data you can pull into your agent. Public data. Everyone has it. Your competitor is training on the same internet you are. Synthetic data, useful for augmentation. It's still derivative. And then lastly, proprietary data. Yours or your customer's Salesforce, for example, or their HRIS files. The data that belongs to you or your customers and cannot be replicated anywhere else. That's the only moat. An agent that works inside a customer's actual systems will always beat one that doesn't. Not because the model is better, because it knows things that the other agents literally cannot. This makes integrations much more than plumbing. They're a key differentiating factor. I want to show you a real example of that in practice with one of our customers, Emma, the Universal AI employee.
Emma is in the process of making AI employees. What we do is we make it very easy to create a platform where you can, you pull in different blocks and configure agents based on specific workflows. Now, you can see, out here that I have a chatbot, which right now has 1 document. What I can do is using Merge, I can very easily add more documents from various data sources. So let's say I want to create a new document based on some folders. And so you can see that there's a bunch of different things available. Essentially my entire Drive directory is being loaded via Merge. In this case, I'm going to maybe ask about one of my design documents that I've asked before. So I'll go through this and let's talk about setting up a new ticketing persona. Now I can save this and save the changes. And now when I go to my config, you can see that this document is available out here. It's getting processed. And it's a very quick process. Merge is able to ingest this and now make it available for us to ask questions. At this point, I can bring up my chatbot and I can ask it something along the lines of, hi, can you tell me about how to set up a ticketing persona? And so, yeah, you can see that not only is it able to give us the answer, but it also gives us a link to the source that we've just uploaded.
So EMA solved the access problem. And now for our next lesson, this is the next problem that hides behind access. Lesson number 3, the shape of the data you pull matters just as much as access itself. You can give your agents access to all the right systems and still get bad outputs. How you retrieve data determines what the agent can actually do with it. So option number 1, you have live calls via MCP. This is real time, it's action oriented. Good for questions like my customer wants to update a ticket right now through my chatbot. That's a single low latency action that happens in the moment. Option number 2 is sync data. Normalized, it's pulled ahead of time, it's sitting in your database before the agent ever asks. Good for analysis. So questions like, help me understand patterns across 400 support tickets. You pick the wrong one of these for the wrong use case, and the agent isn't broken. It's just consistently wrong in ways that are hard to diagnose. MCP on an analysis task means incomplete context. Sync data on a real-time action means stale results. This is an illustration of how the data flows through the system. So you have the LLM on the left, MCP client, server, and then your tools on the right. The thing the diagram doesn't show, every connector in that chain is something you'd have to build, authenticate, maintain, and update when the third-party API changes. For one connector, that's fine, but your customers are going to need more than one connector. And that's an engineering team that you have to build to maintain all of this stuff. Take the case of Telnix, which is a conversational AI platform. Their customers expected agents that could touch CRM, ticketing, ATS, and other integrations. They started scoping it internally. The estimate came back months of engineering time before they shipped a single connector. Then they switched to Agent Handler. All these integrations live in days. But don't take my words for it. Take what David, their CEO, said directly. With Merge as Agent Handler, we can expand our library of connectors faster without compromising on authentication, observability, or compliance. The Merge team has been a strong partner as we scale to meet rapidly growing demand. Speed is easy to claim. Maintaining security and governance while moving fast is the actual hard part. That was an example of a live call MCP flow. Now let's look at an example of a sync data flow. So third-party data comes in from the left. You then normalize it into a consistent schema, regardless of which vendor your customer actually uses. Then it lands in your database, and the LLM reasons over it. The thing that's easy to miss is that your agent doesn't care whether a customer uses Workday or Bamboo HR. It gets the same clean data model either way. That normalization is not a small thing. Without it, you're writing custom parsing logic for every new integration. With it, you write once, and every connector just works. Here's another Merge customer to showcase just how to use sync data. Mistral is building AI search for the enterprise. The problem, enterprise customers have files everywhere. Google Drive, OneDrive, SharePoint, Box. And to make search actually work, Mistral needs to index all of it securely in a way that passes compliance review. They use Merge's unified API, no building integrations, no maintenance overhead. Customers connected their file systems once, and Mistral's agents could search across all of it. They launched faster than they'd planned, but the more important outcome was that they could walk into any enterprise security review and prove that their product was private and compliant. Last but not least, lesson number 4, autonomy is earned slowly. We like to think of a world where agents can take care of all of our boring tasks. The reality is that full autonomy is quite a ways away from most agents. They require a lot of oversight, and companies demand a control plane. That's not a criticism of the technology, it's just kind of where we are right now. The teams shipping successfully aren't the ones who have solved this 100%. They're the ones who have accepted it and built accordingly. Permissions, guardrails, escalation paths, a human in the loop when the stakes are high. And when you don't accept that or aren't careful, then you might have an agent start deleting your whole inbox. You don't want that. So TLDR, agents need 2 kinds of integrations. Number 1, they need normalized read-heavy data access to understand what's happening in a customer's world. Number 2 is they need action-oriented access with governance wrapped around it to do the things in that world safely. Those are 2 very different infrastructure problems. Both are unsolved by default, but both require significant engineering investments to get right. And that's exactly the problem Merge was built to solve. So enter Merge. Merge Unified handles the read side. One API, normalized data, every major category, HRIS, CRM, ATS, ticketing, file storage, accounting, knowledge base. Merge Agent Handler handles the action side, so your customers can take real actions in their third-party software. And our platform handles all of the security requirements that your customers need, SOC 2, ISO, HIPAA, GDPR. Not because we check boxes, but because the customers that our customers are selling to require it. You focus on what your agent actually does, and then we handle the part that would otherwise consume your engineering team. Thanks so much for attending. I hope this was helpful. For next steps, I would encourage everyone to go to merge.dev and sign up for our agent handler product for free. You get 2,000 credits a month, no sales call required.